Okay, thank you. So what we're going to do now is invite some more of the team up on stage for you to meet them. I'll throw some questions their way, which I'm sure the answers you'll be really interested to hear. So they're all a little bit nervous, I'm sure, so if you can give them a warm welcome up on stage, I'm sure they'll really appreciate that. So guys, if you want to come up. We've got Tim, who's a designer in RuneScape. We've got Steve, our QA manager. Mark, our modeler. Pete, who's a talent hunter, and we have Hayley, who works in customer services. Okay, so we can start with just a bit of an introduction for you guys. So Tim, do you just want to start with introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Tim. I'm a senior designer on RuneScape. I joined Jagex as a content developer about a year and a half ago. At the moment, I'm responsible for the early game experience, which is how we can introduce the game better to new players, because some of it's a bit arcane and impenetrable. And
Steve, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name's Steve, or Modbelly. I've been in the industry for over 10 years. I worked my way up from tester up to the QA manager of RuneScape. I've worked for companies such as Rockstar Games, Take-Two Interactive, Tarantula Studios, and Frontier.
And Mark, over to you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Mark. I've been with the company now for 4.5 years as an artist. I started out as a junior artist, and now I'm a senior character artist. I've worked on a number of quests, headed up some of Dungeoneering, clans, the new latest MyRicky project, and the Halloween project that's just gone live. I also help out with careers fairs with the HR guys, just to look at prospective artists that want to get into the industry.
Great. Pete, over to you.
Hi guys, I'm Pete. I work as the talent acquisition specialist at Jagex, so I kind of process the incoming applicants and have to go out there and obviously find guys and girls that we think would be a great fit for the company. I've been at Jagex now for about 4.5 years. Before Jagex, I worked in IT recruiting, and then I was at university obviously before that. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. I work, like Mark says, with guys like Mark, take them to careers fairs and events and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, get to meet guys like yourself who are looking at breaking into the games industry.
And last but not least, Hayley, over to you.
Hi, I'm Hayley. I'm a player support team leader, and I've been with Jagex for 4 years now. Previous to that, I have 11 years customer service experience, ranging from face-to-face service to telephone service. Recently, I became heavily involved with the placement program that we run. My team's actually made up entirely of placement students, so for their 12 months with us, my main focus is to get them developed in the areas they're looking to break into, and to give them an example of what working in the games industry is about.
Great, so we've got a good spectrum of skills up here on stage, so I'm hoping the questions I'm going to ask them are going to give you a real sense of what you could be doing to get into the industry. So Tim, we'll start with you. You're a game designer and a content developer. What advice do you wish somebody had given you before starting out in a career in the games industry?
When you walk into your interview, they're going to expect you to know what you're talking about. And so the most advice I can give is that you need to make games. If you're at school, or if you're an undergraduate, or if you've recently graduated, or if you're already working and you're planning to move into games development, then you should make games as much as you can. Make mods, make board games, make card games, work in a team, work by yourself, make Flash games. Flash games are an interesting case because if you can give someone a URL, it's that much easier for them to play it. If it's a busy hiring manager, he doesn't have time to download something and play something. But if you can just give him a URL with a game you've made, then it's not so much a question of trying to convince them that you're a game developer, but you've already got proof that you are a game developer, and it's just a question of convincing them to give you money for it. If you are working on making computer games by yourself, then you'll find you have to do a little bit of everything. So you'll do some programming, you'll do some design, you'll do some little bit of graphics maybe, you'll do some QA. You'll find that you're better at one of those things. You may already know what your specialization is. If you do, that's great. If you don't, then this is a good opportunity to find out, because the industry doesn't really hire generalists anymore. You'll be looking for a specific role where you'll be expected to specialize in that role. And the more you can focus your experience on that, the better.
Excellent. Thank you, Tim. Mark, over to you. Obviously, securing a role as an artist can be an incredibly competitive process. Can you just tell us a little bit about portfolios and how you can make something like that stand out?
Yeah, a portfolio is the most important thing, I'd say, or one of the most important things in you've been able to get a job as an artist in the industry. Basically, it's a thing that will showcase your work and also show against the competition that's out there. Because if you don't have a portfolio, then we're not going to be able to see that you can actually, you've got the skills to do the job. what I would say for advice for anybody that wants to be a game artist is look online, look at forums, galleries, online portfolios, and basically look at the best sort of work. Use that as a standard and sort of try and aim for that.
What other kind of sites could they go to try and gain some experience?
Yeah, there's things like CG Hub, Game Artisans. You'll get a lot of industry professionals that go on there as well, so they'll be there to give you advice. It's just good to get your work out there, just to get feedback. Modding is also another good thing. That also shows, not just shows that you've got the fundamental skills as an artist, but it also shows that you can. You've got an idea of the development process, you're actually putting stuff into a game engine, so it gives you that experience as well. And I'd also like to say, if you do have an online portfolio, make sure it's easy to access and use, because when you see a number of portfolios that, I don't know, it could take 10 minutes to load up, you just want to move on to the next one, because there's like I said, so much competition. You just want to make it easy to use. So.
Great, thanks, Mark. So Hayley, I'm going to skip over to you. Your role is more focused in customer services and not necessarily games development. Can you just explain a little bit more about what's involved in that and what you think are the key skills you need for your role?
Yeah, well, I think any business that offers a product of any type is going to need customer support. Obviously, Jagex has a lot of loyal players, which we're very grateful for. So we need a lot of player support. We have quite a large department, and our focus is on getting player feedback, two-way communication. Sorry, I've just seen myself on the screen and really panicked. So for us, it's all about gathering your feedback, making sure there's easy ways for you to get in touch with us and vice versa, and that's currently what we're looking at the moment, developing more ways for us to be able to speak to you guys, for you to come to us with any issues or problems so that we can get straight back to you.
So you're actually a team leader in player support. What do you think is probably the biggest skill you have to lean on every day in your role?
Being a people person. I am, considering how nervous I am now, I'm actually quite a people person, and I would love to talk to you all. So I think that is a huge skill to have. We're dealing with people internally and externally every day. I also think a passion for what you do is a huge drive. If you're not interested, you're not going to do it very well. So to me, those are really the two key things, definitely.
Excellent, thank you, Hayley. And Pete, kind of hopping along to you. Talking about passion for what you do, again, you're not in a games development team, you're kind of part of the recruitment team in HR. Can you just tell us a little bit about how your passion for games has really helped you in your role?
Absolutely, yeah. So very much like Hayley said, having a passion for games, I think in any of the roles in the games industry is absolutely key. It's what we really do notice. You think it would be a hard thing to measure, but we really do notice it. It comes through whenever someone applies for a role. For myself personally, as Laura said, I don't work sort of in the games development teams as such. I'm not a programmer, I'm not an artist, etc. But I've been a gamer my whole life. I absolutely love computer games. Since I was a really young boy, I've been as active and involved in sort of games development as I could be. So yeah, going back to what Mark sort of said, for example, the modding communities. I used to mod for Half-Life. I used to do 3D modelling for a good few Half-Life mods back in the day, and it was invaluable experience. Really, it helped me to understand the game development process and all the different aspects of games development, how you interact with coders and how the concept artists pass models to the modelers. And over time, I sort of developed a really good eye for what needs to be kind of looked for in terms of skills from candidates. So that's helped me every day, because I think that helps me very easily spot what a good application is and what a bad application is. I guess mostly though, just coming back to the passion, I think for me is it allows me to build relationships with people. So for my role, I have to build relationships both with the candidates and the guys that I work with, to be able to sort of help sort of facilitate the whole process. And having that passion allows me to have that kind of genuine interest, and we've got that thing that we share, and it just makes me. It helps me love what I do, and as a sort of salesman-y type commercial figure, I guess, it's much easier to sell something you love than it is to sell something that you don't.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think just adding to that point, you did see the vast range of job roles there are within a studio like Jagex, and I think even if you're not in the games development process, sharing a passion for what we do is what hold us all together as a culture. And when you're an organisation of nearly 500 people, you really do need to have those strong values, an ability to work as a team, communicate. So that's equally as important as it is your technical skills. So Pete, just sticking with you, you spend a lot of time at careers fairs, and you said that you've built up a good understanding of what makes a good and a bad application. Can you just kind of tell everybody here today what you think is the main advice you'd give and what would make a great application?
So I guess specifically from graduates, from that perspective, what I think is most important is a word that we use an awful lot in the HR team, and more and more actually as kind of games companies are getting bigger and things are becoming a bit more specialist. We are looking for people who specialise in certain areas. So if you are interested in art, then which part of art? Are you a modeler? Do you lean towards animation, perhaps a concept artist? Try and find as early as you can that thing that you do best. If it's programming, then try and specialise in that area. I think it's very easy to kind of be a bit generalist about stuff and do a little bit of everything and sort of think, oh, I'm obviously making myself very, very attractive to an employer because I can do a bit of programming, a bit of modelling, a bit of animating. Actually, what we're looking for is the people that have gone out there and specialised in the programming or the modelling. So I think choose the course and the path that really kind of ticks your boxes. Again, coming back to passion, you'll know which part of that you have a passion for. Stick to that, really work hard at it, and try and get as involved in outside of university stuff as well, the modding communities, iPad development, iPhone development. It's very easy to get out there and search the internet for help on how to really kind of develop these things and hone the skills. That's what you need to do, is hone the skills in a specific area.
Fantastic, thanks Pete. Hayley, we're just going to come back to you. I'm just going to try and cover off dispelling a few myths as well within the industry. The games industry is quite heavily male-dominated, and kind of women in games tends to be quite a big topic that's spoken about, particularly within the industry side. So, Hayley, being the female on the stage, do you, well, obviously myself, but I'm not answering the question. Would you like to just tell us a little bit about what it was like coming into Jagex as a female? How did you feel as though you were the minority, or actually was it really sort of welcoming and not an issue at all?
Well, 4 years ago when I walked in, it was very much like, oh, it's a girl. And it was quite noticeable. I mean, just look, for example, how many girls are here today. I think in 4 years it has changed so much. And to be fair, I don't really notice anymore. There are girls, women in pretty much every department in Jagex, from player support, QA, the exec team. So, and I think the fact that girls actually are making up now the majority of games consumer products just goes to show, really, we are breaking our way through, and the ground's pretty much even now.
Yeah, excellent, good stuff. So, Steve, I've not spoken to you for a while, so I'll come back to you. I know a lot of people I talk to about the games industry saying, oh, we'd love to be in the games industry and just sit and play games all day, it must be fantastic. If somebody was to say that to you about the QA department, what would be your response to that?
This kind of reminds me of probably when I went for my very first interview into the games industry. It was going for a QA tester position at a company called Take-Two Interactive. And I'd just more or less come out of uni, and I was applying around for a few jobs, and this one was kind of local. So I was kind of like, you know, this should be fairly kind of easy, you know, just kind of go in, do an interview, play a game, and you know, that will be the end of it. It wasn't really until I kind of sat there and got through the interview and came through the games test, I really kind of understood that I was entering like a different kind of world, really, of looking at a game. It's, you know, it's easy to sit there and play a game and look at, you know, like things that are missing textures, or like floating cars, or, you know, you look at like the things that get posted on YouTube that are kind of like, you know, blatant hacks and things like that. But when you're kind of sitting there and being the tester, there's so much more attention to detail you need. A classic example, you know, like you could be testing GTA or playing GTA. You know, you'd have like a guy driving down the road. In the distance, there'd be like a building. As he's driving down there, suddenly like there's a pause in the game. You know, the frame rate drops, or it just, you know, briefly kind of stops. For like a player or like a new tester, it's the sort of thing they might look at and think, oh, you know, maybe it was just a skip on the disk, maybe, you know, hardware issue. But when you're a tester, like an experienced tester, and you kind of look into it a bit further, you might notice that maybe the building at the end of the road suddenly came into a different level of detail than the ones around you, and then you start thinking about it more, and you think, well, you know, is it trying to like load in more detail? But when you're further away, it causes like memory issues and like lag issues. So, yeah, it is all about playing a game, but you kind of really have to understand the kind of process of being the tester and stuff. And like any job as well, you know, you kind of do it enough It does become slightly monotonous, and at times it can be boring, but it is a job, and to be honest, it's the only job in the industry I really enjoy doing, to be honest, and I wouldn't do anything else.
Fantastic. So it goes back to having that passion for what you do again, and
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter which role you're in. It is a hard slog. It's hard work in the games industry. But if you find what it is you're really passionate about, you're going to love what you do, and it's going to be incredibly rewarding as a career. So Mark, just coming to you again, I think it'd be useful for you just to kind of give a bit of an overview of the sorts of software and tools that we use, particularly within the art department, just to give the guys a sense of what they might want to start sort of dabbling with.
Yeah, okay, so at Jagex we use a mixture of in-house software and like industry standard software. So industry standard software is stuff that's used at a lot of development studios use, so stuff like 3D Studio Max, Maya, actually 3D packages, Photoshop as a 2D package. We actually use some in-house software as well, which is we have modelers, a modeling package that we use, and we use that more towards to finish the actual assets to go in the game, and it's so we can actually convert them to go into the game engine. I think the most important thing is for anybody that actually wants to become a modeler is you need to have a grasp of the fundamentals of modeling, because you can pick up one program and maybe use it okay, but if you don't know the fundamentals, if you go to another studio that uses a different program, you basically need to carry those skills across. So yeah.
Excellent, thank you. And finally, just back to you, Tim, just to finish off this panel session. You gave some really good tips earlier on about being a game designer. What tips would you give to gain skills in the broader skills sets, such as communication, team working? How might somebody build those?
Yeah, games these days are all team projects. You won't be working by yourself. Even at Jagex, where on RuneScape there's often a single developer working on an update. You're still working with art, you're working with QA, you're working with the people who are uploading it and doing the update. So this can be difficult because they'll disagree with you a lot of the time. You might be right, they might be right, but it can be quite difficult to get through, and so you've got to learn to compromise. That's the real art of teamwork, I think. So somehow it's got to make it out, even though there's a disagreement there. So if you're at university and you're doing team projects, don't grumble and resent them, because I know as technical people it can be a bit of a nuisance, but look at that as an opportunity to get on, particularly with the people you especially disagree with.
Fantastic, thank you. Well, that's it from the panel, so thank you everybody. If you want to kind of stay seated here, I just want to introduce you to a day in the life of one of our designers, Dave, Mod Davo. You've probably seen him around today, so we'll roll the next video and hopefully it'll be a bit of fun for you.
This is Dave. He is walking to work, just like he does every day at Jagex. Around the world, thousands of game developers will be doing exactly the same thing. This is what game developers do. This is who we are.
Whoa, wait a minute. Honestly, who writes this? Can we rewind to the start, please? Well, some people would have you believe that working in the games industry is all about playing games and having fun. While that's not completely untrue, we do still have a lot to do. We update every week in RuneScape, which is a lot for anybody. But what I like most about that work is the variety. One week you'll be working on vampires, say, and another week you'll be working on pirates. Okay, the first thing I do when I boot up is have a look at my email, and there will be a lot of storyline questions from other people in the team. As storytelling designer, you've got to be a walking, talking Bible of all the things that go into the game. So if somebody wants to know why the gnomes ride tortoises, or why the wise old man wears a party hat, you've got to be the person who answers that. All of these things have to be in there if you want to create a rich and complete universe. Sometimes you'll get a creative question that needs more than just one person to look it over. We've got a whole team full of creative individuals. You just grab a few of them and take them into a room, and you discuss that idea. Well, only this morning, we had a really good one. We had a penguin that needs to be a pop star, or look like a pop star. So we had several suggestions, things like Elton John or Elvis. And sometimes it does get a little bit heated when people have an idea that they really believe in. Well, for the rest of the morning, I might do some editing of dialogue, or I might write a news post. But when it comes to lunch, I like to get away from my desk. The gym is only 5 minutes away, so try to go whenever I can. And try not to book a meeting directly afterwards, because I do get a bit of a red face. Well, other times I like to go and play games in the games room. and get royally beaten by my friends. Then I get back to work. As storytelling designer, I get to see a quest from those first early sketches all the way through to actually playing it by myself. I still get that little nervousness when I play a quest for the first time. After that first playthrough, you have to forget everything you know about that quest. It's important that you play it as a player would, because a player only gets to play the quest once, and so you really have to play it as if it's a first impression. I'm actually working on 9 quests at the minute. We've got some that are released in a year's time, we've got some that are coming out in the next few weeks, and one minute I'll be looking at concept art, and the next I'll be working with a released quest. Secretly, what I love about my job is about talking about the future, deciding what stories we go into next, what directions we take quests. I really like to surprise people and kind of confound their expectations. That's what makes the job so rewarding. You get to come up with an idea that you think is really great, and then you imagine the player's reaction to it, and that really makes the job for me. If I was to summarise what I do and how I fill my day, I guess I would say that I try to get people talking about RuneScape. The best way to do that is to surprise and intrigue them, and there is just no better job description than that.
And cut. Thank you, Dave. That's great.
Okay.
So, working in the games industry is not all fun and games, but it is about having fun while making games. And for some of you, that might be the best kind of fun you can have.
Okay, so that's it from us today. Hopefully we've given you some useful tips and hints about how you might get into the industry, whether or not it's an industry you want to get into and work, or whether you'd prefer just to sit and play the games. If you do want to find out more information, we do have the HR Tavern downstairs, situated right next to the bar, which is very convenient. We'll be there tomorrow as well, so do come down and grab any member of the team to have another chat. Also, visit our careers page. It's jagex.com/careers, and also our Facebook page, which you can sign up for. You hopefully have grabbed a card at some point today, which will have the address or the QR code for that. Our very own Pete here tends to keep it updated with lots of behind-the-scenes goings-on at Jagex, gives you a real sense of what we actually do at the organisation, and also some update on the careers. So thank you very much for your attention. For those of you at the party tonight, I hope you have an amazing time, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you, everybody.